Good morning, guys. Welcome to our broadcast. Good morning to each and every one of you, wherever you're joining us from. Good to have all of you on the live. Rena and Dolly. Good to have you, Edward. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. All the special folks. Good to see you. Good to see you. How are you guys doing? Happy to have all of you here with us. Good to see you guys here. Another day on this side, folks. Another day topside. Annette, Donna, good to have you in the live as well. And good to have all the other folks who are joining us this morning. Welcome. Welcome, good folks. Friends, welcome. Family, welcome. Favorites, welcome, guys. Really happy to have all of you on the live this morning. Happy to have all of you on the live. My apologies there. Trying to catch my breath. But good to have Migrant, Dolly, Lynette, Yonette. I see Akeem is here with us. Upright Youth. Good to have all of you here with us this morning, guys. Do us the big favor. Share the live for us. Smash that emoji button for us, good folks. Delighted and privileged to have all of you here with us. The night is far spent, folks. Now we got is this Wednesday, the 5th day of February, 2025. It's upon us. The 5th day next, it's middle of the month, and then February is gone. So you got some things you're chasing after. Like me, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. But good morning. Let's start there. As we pick up the pace, let's start there. Privileged being here with you folks another morning. So much happening around us. So much happening. Thanks to those of you who've shared the live. Thanks to those of you who smashed that emoji button. Guys, as we're coming on, we have some heartbreaking news that City Councillor Kyle Anthony Solomon lost his life, stabbed to death by bandits. Our thoughts and prayers with our city councillors this morning, the mayor and city councillors of Georgetown. Our thoughts and prayers with them this morning. And according to what I'm looking at here from Travis Chase, who's broke the story, a 16-year-old suspect, 16, is on the run, and police have been told that Councillor Solomon confronted two thieves that broke into his shop. A scuffle ensued, and Councillor Kyle Anthony Solomon was stabbed to death. That's the news we have as we're coming on, folks. And as I said, our thoughts and prayers with them, Rihanna Mingo, Gail, and Roxanne Jonas, Marlon Thomas, Lester Williams. Good morning to you guys. Thanks for joining us this morning. Couple of things we got to get to. Couple of things, and then we're going to have a go at it. Good to have all of you folks on the live this morning. So again, our thoughts and prayers with the family of Kyle Anthony Solomon. Lost his life, stabbed to death this morning, fighting off two bandits who robbed the shop, broke into his shop. Yep, thoughts and prayers with the Solomons. Sudhari Sukhchan, we see you there, and Nilini Carmichael. Great to have all of you folks on the live this morning. Share the broadcast for us. Let's touch on a couple of things international, and then we circle to some things, some happenings in the 592. Folks, it's a lot. It's a lot. Trump is back. It's a lot. It's plenty enough. Plenty enough. I'm happy that a couple of things we can depend on, like you good folks. A couple good things we can depend on, like you good folks. So good morning, guys. All 345 of you who are joining us. Good to have you on the live this morning. And you know, one of the things that's causing a lot of stir, you saw Trump pull back from the tariffs, Canada and what's the other country there, but China goes forward. Right, pull back from those tariffs, and China has implemented some tariffs of their own. You see? Some tariffs of their own. China and Mexico. Canada and Mexico, rather. President of the United States, Donald Trump, 25% on all of y'all. 25% on all of y'all. And then we saw Mexico and Canada. He dressed down, he pulled back. He dressed down and pulled back. But China goes forward. We are there, folks. China goes forward. So that's part of what we're seeing happening. Part of what we're hearing. And this is causing a lot of instability in the stock markets. This is, the trade wars have begun, folks. The trade wars have begun. Believe it or not. The trade wars have begun. But how are you folks doing this morning? Joel Ward, Mark, Rhonda, Sheena, Tommy, Ernest. How are you beautiful folks doing this morning? Why we have that happening? They're telling us in about 50 states, protests growing against the Trump administration. You see, I think this is such a teachable moment. Be careful who you vote for. Be careful who you vote for. People who come and say they care and this and that, and then you see them working against your interest. Those of us who reside in Guyana, you could ask yourself if your personal life, your financial life, is it better off than it was 5 years ago? 5 years ago, we had all this influx of oil money, $1 trillion economy. We didn't have it. Is your life better off? Is your life better off? So this protest is going, y'all have gone out and protested? You all have seen any of these protests close by where you are? Have you heard about the protest? 750 odd states protests going against the Trump administration. Daphne Joseph Lee says it's cold in New York. Oh, folks, so sorry for you. All thoughts and prayers with you guys in the cold. Be careful who you vote for. As people now waking up to the realization that they're still unhinged. Unhinged. Bernard Duncan, good to have you there. Good to see you, Bernadette. Great to have you on the live, Bernadette. Great to have you on the live, and all the other folks who are joining us. Great to have you all on. So, the tariffs, the trade wars have begun. And then we got the march against Trump. Right? The march against Trump. The march against Trump. We got some other things we're following, folks. ICE said they've now started to move migrant detainees to Guantanamo Bay. Remember, they used to keep prisoners here. You remember that? They used to keep terrorists, waterboard a lot of people, and so that's what we're seeing going on now. They say they've started shipping migrants. They fly you to Colombia and so on, and they refuse to take you. They fly you to Colombia and so on, and they refuse to take you out. Talking at Guantanamo Bay. That's what they would say. Talking at Guantanamo Bay. Till we can sort you out. Right. Talking at Guantanamo Bay. Be careful who you vote for. People who vote for Trump getting carried away. You work against your own interests. You don't even know it. They not even know it. Mexicans for Trump, Latinos for Trump. Yeah. So Guantanamo Bay, take a couple thousands. Take a couple thousand Guantanamo Bay. So boy, we gotta be careful. Marlon, John, and Polly, Emily, Wendell, we gotta be so careful. Elections got consequences. Elections have consequences. Believe it or not. So Guantanamo Bay filling up. And they're telling us that the Trump administration buying out everybody. You're not aligned with their interest, take buyout. Go home. The latest of this, they're saying now, the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. You find you don't fit into our agenda? Take a blind bit out. These are career people. Trump gonna wait here for 5 years. He in there for 30 years. But he must come and dictate. If you're not in step, in sync, in line, what they want to do. People they want to harass, people they want to surveil. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. That's some of the following, folks. All right. Take a read this morning, if you can, of the Wall Street Journal. Comprehensive publication. And as we're in the US, don't be going fast and furious this morning. I saw Marco Rubio had a meeting with the El Salvador president. And then an announcement was made. El Salvador said, we keep your prisoners for you. Right. Whether they're detainees, whether they're hardened criminals, we got space in our jail. You all know. This country has detained a lot of gang members, 30,000 odd. They have a mega prison. El Salvador. And yes, they have managed to bring down the crime rate and so on. That augurs well for any society. But the folks said a lot of civil liberties have been trampled on. A lot of civil liberties suspended. So the president of El Salvador, he says for a small fee, we can maintain our prison system. Right? And you get some way to manage your prison population. You outsource it now. The management of your prison population. Interesting. And then I saw, we didn't get a chance to put this up, but Trump is saying that US want to take over the Gaza Strip. These are the times we all live for. Action happening on every front. Action happening on every front. Right? It's what's going down, folks. It's what's going down. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Share the broadcast for us. Share the broadcast with us, folks. Look what else we're following. I think we're coming closer to home now. Daphne Joseph Lee having a good laugh. Trump won't take over the Gaza. Be careful what you wish for, eh? Right? Be careful what you wish for. Edward Bruman said, we asked for a king, yeah? Be careful. Be super careful what you ask for. And as we turn our attention to things local, you know, young ladies, you got to be so careful. So careful. They said, you know, some of the independent choices that we make, who we date, who we see, who we marry to, you know, when we are adulting, be careful, ladies. Be careful. Because we're learning that. Saw it on Facebook, saw it on social media. Young lady lamenting the fact that she's being harassed by her ex-boyfriend. Saw some text messages allegedly from the gentleman, and they're saying this guy could harm this lady, but the police not taking it seriously. Ropes and bell, the police not taking it seriously. I find we got to pick up the pace a little bit. All of these matters should be taken seriously. 28-year-old Denise Alexis is the one making the complaint. She said her 32-year-old boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, Jeremy Gordon. The situation is frustrating now, that he continues to harass and threaten her. Months after he was charged with 2 offenses of publishing obscene videos of her last July. She said the threats and the harassment continue. I hope the police step in before it's too late. I hope they step in. Please and thank you. I know you got some of them say, oh, man, woman story we getting in. Man, woman. You all better step in. And in that story, we're following very closely. Nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing. Nothing. At Grove, we hear they're desecrating the tombs. They put down some pump station. And not just that they are uprooting tombs and so on, but it's a manner in which they're doing it. No respect. No respect. Look, you all know nothing is guaranteed in this country. Bernadette, Marlene, Lynette, Sharon. When them boys send us off and say rest in peace, there's no guarantee. Nigga said a bush growing up on your coffin, your tomb rather. Well, both. I said a bush. They ain't clean the drains, they flood you out. They get rid of the bush, they burn you out. And then somebody could just come and lash in your tomb, dash you out like nothing. Because they want run pipes. Right? As if you want to understand our nation headed, look how they treat the elderly. Look how they treat the dead. I remember when I went to buy outside, Region 11. My relatives took me to a burial ground. You could picnic. You could picnic there. You could picnic, you could lie down and talk to your loved one. The grass is well manicured, as they say. Everything neat and dandy. And telling you picture story, telling you what I saw with my own eyes. You go picnic in Lubentier. You go picnic in the one up on the east coast by Monrepo side. You go picnic in the one by Grove. That's your pat-ups. Right? Now we say, look how they treat the dogs as well. Look how they treat the dogs as well. We got a long way to go, folks. We got a long way to go. So desecrating the tombs up at Golden Grove there. Shame on y'all. I saw letters to the press, letters in the media today. So all this nonsense, and let us reconsider how we treat the dead. God damn it. Good. That being said, folks, I notice as well the Linden Town Council heading in the right direction. You can see in the coming of your own home and your MMG pay rates and taxes. I'll say one thing. One thing I found with the MMG, right? And it's a little narrow-mindedness. And I know the folks there at GTT could do better. You could send money from your bank account now to your MMG account to top up your phone, buy credit, whatever the case may be. But you couldn't send money from your phone to your bank account. That's a little backward to me. That's a little backward to me. You could send it out to buy credit, and so you couldn't send it in. Let people money flow however they want to use it. Come on now, folks. Let people do whatever they want to do with the money. Just create the pathways, create the avenues. So I could take money from my bank account through my MMG to buy credit and send credit and so on. But to send from my MMG to my bank account, I can't do it. But I'm happy to see the Linden Town Council, under the leadership of His Worship Shamar Solomon, moving the thing along. You know, convenience is it. Convenience is it. So I hope they pursue this with vigor and continue to move in the right direction. We should have had this story closer to the other one, because they're reporting that a young lady was brutally stabbed. I saw a stab from below her navel right up to about here. That's a tear. And all these stitches. Again, our men shaming us. Right? Again, our men disappointing us. This is what we got to deal with. This is what we got to deal with. And then young start looking at all of us the same way. Right? You start looking at all of us like suspects, and becomes even harder. Right? Becomes even harder. The lady is Parvati Gaj. Parvati Gaj, 42 years old, stabbed twice in her stomach. Once to her head by her ex-lover with an ice pick last month. And she's calling on the Ghana police force to locate her attacker and place him before the courts. Now we shouldn't gotta prevail upon the police to do the work. 3 times in her stomach, once to the head with an ice pick. Miracle she's alive. Sanborn, Esther Blue, as Stan reinforcing the point, how you treat the dogs in the society dictates the quality of society you have. What about how we treat our women folks? Come on, man. Come on, man. Please and thank you. Stop putting me on shame bench. Gwen Anderson, Roxanne, let us stop putting me on shame bench for sit down. So I hope Poverty gets the necessary protection and help that she needs. This can be traumatic in Poverty's life for a long time, and the man gone on with his life like nothing. 3 times to her stomach, 1 time to the head. 1 time to the head. When I speak, stabbed her. My God. My Lord. Look story here now. Look story here now. You know, any given day you hear so many things in this country. Right? You hear people who accuse others of seeking asylum. They're seeking asylum now. But I don't want to concern myself with all those things. To each his own. You believe people want to harm you and you have sought asylum? Right. The facility is there. You want to utilize it? Go right ahead. The infamous Tupui Bellevue pump station, Tupui being the company, Bellevue being the place. You're going to understand it, people. They think your memory is short. So they could stand in the National Assembly and say, oh, this project is 10% complete. And they want you to put a mile on them. They want you to clap. You've done well. Shame on the PUP. Shame on the Public Procurement Commission. Shame on the National Attainable Administration. Shame on all of them. Shame, shame, shame. 10% complete. There is nothing to be ashamed about. Raquel Gale, Sebastian Royal, the boss from Region 6, Sebastian, Marlon Thomas. Isn't that something to be ashamed of? 10%. Last year, July, folks. Last year, July. Last year. MP Maipol and I took a site visit to Bellevue. MP Ganesh Maipol and I took a site visit. And you'll be surprised at some of what MP Maipol said. It will shock you. July, August, September, October, November, February. And look where we are. Look where we are. Folks, here's some of that interview. MP Ganesh Mahipal, Shadow Minister of Communities and Regional Development, and I on site, the Bellevue pump station. And we stood in Parliament recently and said 10% complete, but no shame, no contrition, none. Take a look.
All right, we are at the junction of Bellevue and Good Intent. And this is the project site of the infamous project known as the Bellevue Pump Station, which is being constructed by the famous Guyanese critic, or I should say the infamous Guyanese critic. One of the problems that people are facing here is flooding in next door communities, because the blocking off of this drainage canal has caused water to be diverted. And in this diversion, it is causing flooding in Stanley Tongue and nearby communities. But if you look at this water right now, something seems to not be happening correctly. The water is stagnant, the color is dark, and you can see that it's nasty. It is clearly a breeding ground for mosquito and other vector-borne diseases. The concern, however, is that this project has been awarded for over a year and something now, or thereabout.
More than a year?
And since that award, this is the state that it is in. And the duration was 547 days, but clearly that will have to be extended. May I remind you that this project, the contractor that was awarded it, did not satisfy any of the criteria to be awarded this project. So when we talk about corruption in the tendering process and the procurement process of this country, this is an example of close to $1 billion being awarded in a manner that does not satisfy the criteria to be awarded to the contractor. Now, we ought to take note of the duration and the extension and the displeasure and discomfort that it's bringing to residents. I don't know how much more we can elaborate and explain the plight people face due to what is happening here.
Yeah, you know, Ganesh, we've seen a number of streets in this community here in Region 3, or communities here in Region 3, which leaves much to be desired in terms of infrastructure. This pump station is going no place. It seems, at least on this side in Region 3, the government don't seem too interested in, too bothered with infrastructure.
You see, the west bank of Demerara, if I am to do a comparison, this is Bellevue area we're in. And Bellevue is a predominant PPP area. And next door to Bellevue is Stanley Tongue, a predominant APNU AFC area. In Bellevue right now, almost all the streets, if not all, are asphaltic concrete. And you have concrete bridges that are being built to assist in terms of access. But we just came from Stanley Tongue, and we see the difference. We see the difference, and we see how Stanley Tongue is being treated. There is a clear case of this administration just utilizing a few who they purport to be APNU AFC supporters to shout on the rooftop as though they're doing for everybody. I remind the Irfan Ali administration that here in Region 3, 23,000 plus people voted for the APNU AFC. And that gives them an equal voice to that of the People's Progressive Party. And he, who happens to be a resident of Region 3 coming out of Leonora, knows the demographics. He knows the area, he knows the region. But the West Bank of Demerara seems to not be of concern to the People's Progressive Party. What are they going to come and tell us? That they're building a couple pump stations that are all not functioning as yet, and they're not moving at any pace where people can conclude that it's really promising to them? What are they going to tell us? That they're building a couple of bridges here and a couple of bridges there? What are they going to tell us? That they're building a couple of roads here, a couple of roads there? This is a big landmass. And when you look at the proportion, when you proportionate how is it that work is being done when compared to communities that are predominantly PPP, and you look at communities that are purported to be predominant AP and AFC, you see the fundamental difference of how one set of people are treated differently from another set of people. And that raises the concern of the people, and have drawn the conclusion that this is a one-sided Guyana. We are living in a one-sided Guyana where one set of people are treating differently from another set of people.
Ganesh, as we hear on this project site, as you mentioned, this was a highly controversial contract. This Tupui Bellevue pump station contract had some very scathing review from the Public Procurement Commission. Now, just after that review, they had scampered together and they had started back some work here. We don't see anybody here working today. And more than that, I want you to comment on that as well. More than that, we've since learned that Tupui has been given another contract, another big contract. What are your thoughts generally on those issues?
It's clearly friends, families, and favorites. And some people will add flatterers and fornicators. We are clearly in a situation where they are favoring people who are in their pockets. And when people talk about corruption in the PPP, when people talk about nepotism, when people talk about cronyism, when people talk about a police force that is displaying attitudes that can only be concluded as them being corrupt, And I've listened to Robertson Ben, what he said. I've listened to Irfan Ali, what he said too. Maybe tomorrow Robertson will have to go home. I don't know. But the point I am making is that when you engage friends, families, and favorites, and may I add flatterers and fornicators, we are in a situation where you don't get value for money. Billions of dollars are being used, and I will not be shocked if I hear that the critic will have to get an additional sum here. They will do a change of scope, and they will put more money towards this project because clearly it cannot be completed in the duration, and clearly he doesn't know what he is doing. Clearly.
I think some excavator went down on this side.
Yes, the excavator right inside there, the excavator sank. And this excavator, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know.
And before I let you go, Ganesh, what is your sense of the percentage of work that has been completed? Having a look at it. 5% of it.
And that 5% has to do with getting off the overburden and building the cofferdam. Nothing else was done. There is a foundation that has to be laid there. A heavy concrete foundation. It has to be done with a specific type of steel rod. Then they have to come up with that with the walls, concrete again. Then they have to base it off. A lot of work got to be done here. A lot of work got to be done here. And if you want to get a clearer view and understanding, then you should look at the pump station that was built at Greenwich Park. That one was done, I wouldn't say to perfection, but it was fairly well done. And it is serving its purpose. When you compare what was done there, the steps that were taken to get it to where it is, and you look at this here, 5% maybe even too much.
So close to $1 billion later.
1 year after,
1 year after.
5%.
5%.
Nonsense.
The 5% government. All right, thank you very much, MP Ganesh Mahipal.
Yep. You saw it there, folks. You saw it there. And if you're now joining us, you're telling us in the National Assembly that they're 10% complete. That was last year, July. Ganesh and I were out there at the Bellevue pump station site. On the work site. That was last year, July. Now we hear people seeking asylum. We hear folks seeking asylum. Rather left the project. 10% of the work on the pump station. $182 million collected by Tupui. 10% work. And then boys come and say, vote me back in for progress. Vote us back in for transformational leadership. Vote us back in so we can do more Bellevues. We can do more Bellevues. 10%. Last July, Ganesh said, this look like 5% in the work. Now, 10% they're saying has been completed. $182 million received by the company to Puri. Yep. And lots of other money is giving out too. GECOM got some monies recently, 7.3 billion, which they say 193 million going to train about 20,000 election day staffers. We watching that. So I remember the last time we were at this, a lot of PP people were employed by GECOM. And you good folks on social media, you were quick to spot a face and say, look, she had on a PPP t-shirt last month. Look, this person here. Hundreds of PPP supporters got employed by GECOM last time around. So we got to remain watchful. GECOM got some money there. The gas energy project as well got some money recently. $51 billion. They said that can be the next skeleton, the next white elephant. Oh, they're promising the moon and the stars with Wales Gas to Shore project. The moon and the stars. And this thing's sucking up money like nothing. Sucking up money. $51 billion allocated for the gas energy project. Right? That being said, folks, ever learning but never coming to the knowledge of the truth. Right? The revision of the Amerindian Act. They've allocated some $80 million towards that. But just talk about revising and so on. They don't really want to give our indigenous brothers and sisters any real decision making. So just talk. 80 million dedicated to the revision of the Amendment Act. That's another thing we got to keep our eyes on, folks. And the cash grant process. Got some additional funding, $40 billion. They said they needed $60 billion for this project. Right? They needed $60 billion. They took 30 in a supplemental budget, and now they take 40. But they needed $60 billion for the project. They took $30 billion in a supplemental budget last year, and now they have approved $40 billion. And people still telling us they can't receive the cash grant yet. Since the instantaneous cash grant was first announced October 10th last year, folks say they can't receive the cash grant yet. And folks, you all know this country could have its own sitcom, its own series. Why you all made the interview with the infamous Dr. Baldio? Why you all made this interview? If madness was a person, that's my take. If craziness was a person, let us start there. Folks, like the Calypsonians and in Trinidad, we ain't got a race problem. We got problem who have and won't have. Who want to build Afrocentric restaurants, etc. And who can't afford to build any. But you all made the interview, good folks. Do let me know what you all made the interview with our brother Travis Chase. What you all made of it? My God. My God. I said Travis Strong as a journalist. I said Travis Strong. I see folks asking about the black box. GDF chopper went down a year ago. More than a year ago. Killing 5. We don't want the black box yet. What you all made of the interview? You got a lot of land story in this country, good folks. A lot of land problem, a lot of land issues. And we're learning that Dr. Baldio is in a lot of land deals with people who should not be making land deals. Dr. Baldio knows a lot of things. He knows a lot of things. He knows a lot of things. And then he seems to willfully forget other things. He seemed to willfully forget other things. But this whole notion of Linden, who get in Linden, who get the inside track, who get the outside track, the CEO or former CEO of Central Housing and Planning Authority, allegations of him buying a big property in the US of A, who get in favors, friends, family, and favorites. A few days ago, Irfan took to social media. See this land story here? Big problems. He took to social media. See, everybody being subjected to the same conditions, really. Everybody being subjected to the same confusion, really. The same conditions, really. In terms of access to land. Same conditions, really. So you mean I can get a 30 acres like Dr. Baldio? A little 5 acres here, a little 10, sir? Really? Same conditions, he said. He took to social media to head off the situation because this whole issue about land, scandalous. It is scandalous, folks. It's scandalous. Listen to some of what he said quite recently. Some of what he said. It's scandalous. Take a look.
in land allocation, in regularization. In the last 4 years, we have allocated more than 40,000 plots of land and pieces of land from the Ministry of Housing alone across the country. When you look at the total acreage of lands that has been divested directly into the hands of ordinary Guyanese, more than 40,000 of those Guyanese, families, young professionals. When you look at the total acreage that was developed and divested into the hands of these Guyanese, as against the acreage that would have been allocated for private development or for development by private developers, that allocation for private developers and commercial purposes is less than 10%, less than 10% of the lands allocated for the housing and house lots. And there's an important fact that we must understand. The resources generated from the sale of land to private developers for development purposes, because I will go through with you the conditions through which those sales are made, for development purposes, for investment purposes, for transformation of the housing stock. The resources from that is used to cross-subsidize investment for low-income, middle-income, and low-middle-income properties. The concept of cross-subsidization in the housing sector is a key one. That is why, with the government investment, with the cross-subsidization, we're able to subsidize heavily the house lot that is delivered to the ordinary person. And if you look at the agreement that we signed with private developers, regardless who the developers are, first of all, there's a process. There was an expression of interest. Private developers would have had the opportunity to respond to that expression of interest, and all of the developers would have signed the same agreement.
Yeah, that's what he says. That's what he says. All the developers have signed the same agreement, same terms, same conditions. Folks, this land story here got plenty problems. Plenty scandal right there. And you guys know now, the same afternoon after he said it live and so on, the CEO for Central Housing and Planning resigned. Same afternoon, Colin said here no. Right, take text Susan for the first time. Can I hear something I didn't know? She didn't know neither. What was happening with the CEO? I didn't know. Interesting. They like talk half and live half. Interesting, folks. Interesting. What's going down? Here's some of the other things happening in the happening in the housing sector. Take a look. Take a listen.
Housing Ministry is being refurbished. Seats are being upgraded and new equipment are being procured. Housing Minister Colin Crowell detailed the new additions and replacements when he answered questions in the National Assembly on Friday. The cost of the refurbishment is $4 million.
3 executive chairs, 1 for the PS, 1 each for the ministers, 1 small refrigerator, the permanent secretariat, 3 battery backups, 1 each for the 3 secretariats, 3 filing cabinets, 1 each for the 3 secretariats, 2 desktop computers, 2 for the permanent secretary secretariat, 2 laptops for the 2 ministers' secretariat, 4 waiting chairs, and 2 digital
The
cameras.
announcement came as a result of questions posed by Member of Parliament Annette Ferguson There is no word on the fate of the equipment being replaced. House lot allocations were also questioned. The Housing Ministry said that it had distributed some 10,700 house lots last year. Of these, 205 were allocated in the hinterland. But there was a difference in the number presented in the budget and the number given by the minister.
In 2020, allocated was 2,759 in total. In 2021, 6,989 in total. In 2022, 10,695 in total. 2023, 9,056 in total. 2024, 10,797 in total. Already in this year, this month of just completed January, 512.
Ferguson insisted that something was wrong.
It is recorded publicly that 10,791 lots were distributed in the year 2024. Now the minister is saying to this committee that for 2024, 10,797 lots were distributed.
In a total of 40,808. This is a big wow factor. Just imagine that. But the reality is, Mr. Chairman, even if you do reconciliation, because you're allocating every day, if you're doing reconciliation at the end, because there's a period of time you have to submit data for the budget preparation, and if I am here giving the final figure of what the year total was, then I don't see what's a big alarm and wow factor.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things, folks, a lot of things happening in this sector here. And while that's happening, I did show you early on President Ali taking to social media yesterday to talk about, everybody got the same treatment. Was it the day before yesterday? Everybody get the same treatment, same terms, same conditions, and so on. I saw former Mayor Obraj-Narain, a letter to the editor says that the president is trying to deflect blame from the ongoing land scandal. Obraj ran out behind him. He's trying to deflect. Obraj says. He's trying to deflect, folks, trying to deflect. This is one of the things, guys, that we're watching. He says that the president is attempting to deflect blame from the ongoing land scandal. It was nothing short of a political maneuver designed to shield his government from the mounting allegations of corruptions. Rather than addressing the serious concerns surrounding the high-ranking officials and businessmen allegedly involved in unscrupulous land deals, the president instead chose to shift responsibility onto the previous administration. Everything is a great faction. So this attempt, the former mayor says, Planet Obraj-Narain, this attempt to evade accountability is both disingenuous and disappointing for the future of governance in Guyana by the PPP. That's just part of this letter in today's press. That's just part of the letter in today's press. So a lot of things happening here, folks, with these land deals. A lot happening. We can keep watching them, folks, and reporting them, keeping them accountable, keeping them honest, if that's possible. But that's going to do it for us this morning, folks. Thanks for joining our broadcast. Share the live, good folks. Please and thank you. Do us that honor. Do us that great favor. Share the broadcast. Smash that emoji button. And folks, help us to keep going. Help us to keep going. Not because we can come and begging every single day. Mean everything nice and on the up and up. Help us to keep going. Please and thank you. Send a contribution our way. You'll see a link coming by you in the broadcast. Don't turn your face against it. Right? Don't turn off your phone now. You see that link coming by? Help us to keep going. Send us a donation. We don't restrict you how small, how large. Right? Surprise us. Folks, that's our 10 this morning. Nigel and Linden, Gavin, Maureen, Melanie, Lila Jeffer, Junior Holder. Good morning to all of you folks. Wendell Hudson, Osman Hodge. Good morning to all of you. That's going to do it for us at this end this morning. We're going to keep on the same land issue. This one got teeth, folks. Got teeth there. Yeah, yeah. Lester, Edward, Deborah, all the other folks joining us this morning. That's our time, folks. We're going to see you on the other side of the day. That's our time, and that's our program.